I already plugged it once. I'm going to plug it again. You don't want to miss out on the watch party this Sunday. We are going to be live an hour before kickoff here on Seahawks Today. It is the best spot for you to come in and hang out with other 12s. We are watching the game, having a good time, just chilling, enjoying everything around your Seattle Seahawks. You don't want to miss out. It's the best place to be if you can't be at Queen Anne's in Seattle or at Pittsburgh watching your Seattle Seahawks play. Make sure you subscribe and join us on Sunday. Now, our first question comes from Drew Peacock. I heard he's pretty vibrant. After week 1, who would you rather have, Sam Darnold or Geno Smith? Hashtag Seahawks. Well, here's my version here, DP. If I am going to immediately after one game jump completely off the Sam Darnold bandwagon, then I'm not a true believer in this front office or in this coaching staff. In my eyes, John Schneider has done enough, at least early on in his career, where I have to at least give him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to personnel decisions. Geno Smith is a higher priced quarterback. He's an older quarterback. And so if it doesn't work out with him, you're having to move on in the draft. You're trying to have to find someone early. Or if you're like Jalen Milroe lover, maybe you promote Jalen Milroe right up to the top. I don't know if he'll be ready for primetime right away. I think Sam Darnold was a smart move. I don't think he played that bad. Geno Smith played great against the Patriots. Patriots defense is nothing compared to the San Francisco defense. Sam Darnold, I understand that going into that last drive, he only had like 80 yards. I don't blame him completely for that. I blame more of the coaching staff, and I blame the decisions and play calling. In my eyes, he took what the defense gave him. And when you take what the defense gives you, I can't be too upset about that. Julian, hashtag Seahawks. What positives do you have with Sammy D having a good game? What will go wrong on defense if we don't have Spoon? A nice two-part question. So let's start with Sam Darnold. I think that he was smart with the football and was decisive. He got the ball out of his hands quickly. Now, his issue is something that he can't always control. Don't get me wrong. The fumble at the end of the game, you need to have better pocket awareness. You need to understand that there is a defensive lineman that is driving your offensive lineman back into your lap, and you need to get the ball out quicker or tuck it and move around. Be a game manager. Be a player that can help lead this team to the promised land by not making the mistakes. Sam Darnold was great at that in Minnesota. Be that person here in Seattle. The positives that I take away from him is that it's only going to get better. When you play week 1 in a new system, in a new environment, for a new team, sometimes, and when live bullets start flying, you get a little nervous. Stuff isn't as easy in the preseason or during the joint practices. And that's why they always say you make your biggest gains week 1 to week 2. I think Sam Darnold can continue to grow on the mistakes that he made, but also grow on the good things that he did as well. When it goes to the defense, the issue with not having Spoon is that you already don't have Nick Eamon-Warren. Don't get me wrong. Missing out on Devon Witherspoon is painful, and it's not going to feel good for this team, whether you had Nick Eamon-Warren or not. And don't get me wrong, there's still a chance that he could come out and play. But for me, when it comes to this defense and that nickel spot, it is going to revolve around Spoon and Eamon-Warren. If you don't have both of them, that means you're playing Riq Woolen and then you're playing Ty Okada. Or you're going to D'Anthony Bell, who's on your practice squad right now. Or you're reaching out to some other teams and you're making some phone calls really quick. That is absolutely scary in my eyes. Against the Steelers, you're reaching into that practice squad for Bell and you're looking at Okada, a guy that, frankly, kind of got cooked in this last game. I'm worried about that. Losing Spoon is bad. Losing a combination of Eamon-Warren and Spoon, that's the world falling apart. Fingers crossed that Spoon's going to be ready to go. OTDJ, easy for me to say. How confident are you in the Seahawks D-line to get the job done against AR-12 and the Steelers' offensive line? In my eyes, your defensive line, and I'm going to throw in Ernest Jones and Julian Love, were the biggest bright spots in that game. I can't remember a series where you didn't have Brock Purdy scrambling for his life in this game because Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, or Jaron Reed were not chasing him down. And that's not even getting into the edge rushers like Boye Mafe and DeMarcus Lawrence. Boye Mafe, I originally came out of that game a little bit disappointed in him. In my eyes, I was like, wow, he didn't really make a ton of plays. And then you go and you look at the all 22. The guy is flying around. He's in the backfield the entire time. He just wasn't able to finish. So he got a lot of hurries. He got a lot of quarterback pressures. If he can continue that strong play, and I'm going to get Uchenna Nwosu back, you better freaking watch out, man. You better freaking watch out. This team is scary. And that defensive line going up against the statue that is Aaron Rodgers, I think I might be faster than him right now. I know producer Reed's faster than him, especially on his scooter. I think this defense might be able to feast. We're going to get into more of your questions because, frankly, I've been impressed with everything that you've thrown our way. But I got to talk about today's sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I was playing Prize Picks this weekend. Trust me, should have used the flex play option. I've got a 3-pick power play for Prize Picks this Sunday, Seahawks against the Steelers. Cooper Kupp, I think it's a revenge game. He's getting more than 37.5 yards receiving. I think that this defense in Seattle, even without potentially Spoon, probably without Nicky Manwari, they're going to get in the backfield, get a lot of stops. Steelers are going to punt at least 4 times. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, he did everything but get into the end zone. He's going to get in the end zone more. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Eileen, you fall. Where do you fall? For me? Ooh, nice. Riq Woolen was horrible. Will he be benched? #Seahawks. Mike McDonald has been very coy on if he's going to bench Riq Woolen. Look, Riq Woolen has this natural ability to be awesome 90% of the time, 85% of the time. But when there's key and crucial moments, for whatever reason, he just seems to fall apart. And you saw that on Sunday against the 49ers. Here's the problem with the cornerback room right now. That guy at that nickelback position, Devon Witherspoon, he missed practice. Is he going to be able to go on Sunday? If he's not, Riq Woolen, in my eyes, has to play. Unless you're going to completely bench him and go with Nehemiah Pritchett or go with Kendrick. Those are options, right? But we haven't really seen them other than Pritchett in the preseason because Kendrick was someone that you signed after he got cut from the team he was with in training camp. The other issue is, even if Devon Witherspoon does play in this game, he's your nickel back. So when you go to nickel, because Nicky Manwari is going to be out, more than likely, I have to keep saying that, that means your number one nickel is Devon Witherspoon. And in this defense, you need that nickel. You need to be able to use it because Mike McDonald likes to use them in different blitz packages and elaborate blitz schemes in the pass game as well as in the run game. You need him. So, unfortunately, even if he is benched, you probably still see Riq Woolen. And I guess it's unfair of me to say unfortunately because hopefully it's just he made 2 mistakes and he's finally learned. Hopefully it took him a little bit, but now he's finally learned from his mistakes and he'll go back to being rookie season Riq Woolen. Robert Hale, what's going on, man? Zach Sharp was balling, deserves more carries. #you right, bro. I couldn't agree more. Zach Charbonnet I thought he looked fine in this game. There were some things that weren't his fault. There were some things that were. 47 yards isn't going to be good enough, but when you only have, I believe he had 12 carries in the game, it's pretty darn good average. He was just right under 4 yards per carry, if I remember correctly, and he was running through contact. It felt like to me when Kenneth Walker got grabbed, got held up, he just ended up falling. When Zach Charbonnet was cooking, when he was rolling, when he was grinding, you found ways to get into the end zone and you kept drives marching forward. So in my eyes, Sharp needs more carries. He needs to be your main back. He needs to be your feature back. I don't know why he wasn't beforehand. TP, what's up, brother? Seahawks. Who is going to make Metcalf's role in the big wide receiver this year? I know, I missed the hashtag, but that's okay because sometimes... Oh, producer Reed's helping me out because, well, as a former teacher, apparently I can't read. Who is going to take Metcalf's role in the big wide receiver position this year? I think in the red zone, you're going to go with Jake Bobo. In my eyes, that's the perfect spot to play him. He's 6'4", he's big, he's strong, he's physical. Unfortunately, you didn't get to use him in the last game. He was out with concussion protocol, still going through that, dealing with the concussion he got against the Packers in the preseason. That's a great spot that DK used to take as that 50-50 ball guy, that fade route guy that could just step up and go and make a play. Now, when it comes to the speed, obviously Jake Bobo doesn't have that. My eyes, the next person that would have that is Torrey Horton. Torrey Horton, honestly, was a massive letdown in that first game. He was coming off that ankle injury. Hopefully, he can continue to take strides forward, and he was just hamstrung because of how bad that ankle injury was. If Torrey Horton can take over that deep play threat, unfortunately, you're now using two pieces to kind of take over for one piece that you used to have on the offense, but it is a way to still fix that problem as the big wide receiver this year. Thank you so much for sending that in, TP. Now, in this matchup, you've got the Seahawks going to Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I hate early morning games. I don't feel like the Seahawks traveled all that well. I think it's just there's a time difference. Getting up early is brutal. Steelers having to deal with that team, I hate them. I've hated them ever since. I don't even remember that Super Bowl. I was just like young enough. I don't remember the name of that Super Bowl, I should say. I remember the Super Bowl. I remember Ben Roethlisberger being short on that 4th and 1 and somehow that call being upheld. I remember Hines Ward being found by Antoine Randall L. on that stupid pass back. I really thought that Seahawks team was going to win the Super Bowl. I've hated the Steelers ever since then. I feel like the Seahawks are going to have a good opportunity to get right against Pittsburgh, but I'll tell you what, they have to stop that quarterback back there. Aaron Rodgers, he was slinging the ball around. The best way to do that, get your defensive line getting after him. Colin's buzz cut. How's it going? I didn't know that Colin's buzz cut could text in. What happened to the offense? Hashtag Seahawks. They went away from what made them good. We saw it in the first or second preseason game, I should say, against the Kansas City Chiefs when you got this ones unit out there. You ran the ball. You used Robbie Oots in that fullback position to gain extra leverage. You ran to the strong side. You ran to the weak side. You didn't just run where you had your strength at. You weren't predictable. Sometimes teams thought you were going to run the ball and you did play action pass. And that opened everything up in the short end of the field, the middle, and on the deep side. My eyes, you have to get back to that. And I don't know why Clint Kubiak went away from it as your OC. In my eyes, maybe it was just, hey, it's my first game, got a little nervous, the 12s were rocking and looming. Maybe the moment got too big for you. Robert Saleh clearly outcoached you. It's not Robert Saleh's first rodeo, but it's also not Clint Kubiak's first rodeo. My eyes, this offense struggled because of play calling. There were other issues that you have to fix at that wide receiver spot of beating one-on-one matchups in that running back room, getting broken tackles. But you got to fix the play calling, and I think everything will be alleviated. Brendan Yoder, glad you showed up. Didn't want to miss you. Thank you so much for texting in. Hashtag Seahawks. D-Law, I expected more. Are we expecting to see him step up, maybe make a few big plays against the Steelers in week 2? Yes. And I get where you're coming from, Brendan, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier. DeMarcus Lawrence did have a good game when you look at it from a stat perspective. He was in the backfield. He was making tackles for loss. He was running around. I mean, shoot, even in that picture, he's within a fingertips grasp of Brock Purdy. But where he can step up and get more on our radar is by getting sacks. And I need more sacks, and I need big sacks in big moments. He needs to make sure that when he has an opportunity to pin his ears back, he has his best pass rush move available. This Steelers offensive line unit is getting better than it's been in previous seasons. But Aaron Rodgers is a statue. He cannot move. Get into the backfield. Dial up fire zones. Dial up man blitzes. Get pressures going. DeMarcus Lawrence, win one-on-one matchups. Got to get back there. Got to get big-time tackles. Mal, good to see you. Saw you on a couple of our other videos, texted in, hanging out at the watch parties. Really appreciate it. How long have you been a Seahawks fan? Since birth. I was born into it. So I am originally from Vancouver, Washington. Not that Washington. Our Washington, Washington State. Not that Vancouver. I am American. I was born and went to high school in Hawkinson, Washington. So if you know anything about the Hawks, that is where I am from. Just about 20 minutes north of Portland. So that's kind of the area that I grew up in. Not from Seattle, but diehard Seahawks fan. I can thank my dad for that. He grew up indoctrinating me in Seahawks and Mariners propaganda. So those are kind of my big two diehard teams. Played football as an offensive lineman over at Central Washington University. Go Cats. So if anyone who doesn't know about my backstory, you're going to hear me talk a lot about the game in the trenches. That's always going to be because that is my true love. That is where I came from. I love running the football. I love grind out games. I love what this offense can be because as a former offensive lineman, it's what I wanted my offenses to be. If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and inches, don't run the kicking unit out there. Run the dang ball. So that way we can score and we can leave a physical imprint on it. Been a Seahawks fan all my life. I am 27, almost 28 years old, and I think I've been in love with the Seahawks for 29 years. The Super Bowl year gets to count as 2. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in their mailbag questions. Follow me on social media. If you have a burning question, you can slide into my DMs at Will Ortner on X and on Instagram. I'll make sure that I reply as fast as I possibly can to get you your questions and answers. And frankly, if you just want to be up to date on the latest Seattle Seahawks news, as soon as I know information, I get it out to you 12s. Make sure you follow me on those channels.